Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another week of the live Tangled Up Chord Show. No, to the live Rideshare Rodeo podcast. I got two more left in this summer before I go back to the audio world. And this week, my co-host slash guest and friend is Mr. Yost Malone. Welcome, Yost.
What's up? What's up? How's it going?
It's going pretty good, man. How you been? What are you doing? What are you up to? How's life?
Well, I had to get a W-2. I'm working at a bank now, and so
Okay.
the bank's been around for a while. It's been really good, but I still do my gig work, and I'm still about the gig work community. But yeah, that's what I've been doing.
Full time?
Yes. So
Yeah.
I've been doing the bank full time and then gig work part time.
Yeah. Well, so yeah, people joining us. We have a couple good topics if we get to them tonight. We'll see if we even get past this first one, though, to be honest. But before we even go into it, I want to give thanks to Solo Moves and GaryZapps.com. Solo, you guys, it's worksolo.com. Check it out. It doesn't cost anything to check it out. See what the perks are that it offers. See how it works. It might not even be live in your market yet. You might not even be able to take advantage of the pay guarantee portion of it, but you'll see it working. So you can see the workings whether your market's live or not. Also check out Moves Financial. Now platforming 17 gig apps. So they have onboarded about like 9 more in the past this year alone. And of course, Gary's apps, Mr. Middleton Technologies, DUH, Maximo, and FlexAlert. Guys, those are, I know that everybody says they are earnings apps, but they are safety apps. They're both, but they're safety apps first. They keep you from having to touch the phone and accept, to decline. Because even as Gary's put it, that split second you have to look away just to double touch, just to touch your phone can cause an accident. It's very good just on the safety reasons alone, not to mention you can set the filters you want. So that said, let me see who's in the chat real quick. Then we're going to jump into this first topic. I'm curious how everybody feels about this. Gig Worker 101, thank you for the super chat stickers. Brian Kern, what's up? How are you? Nova, how you doing? Jackie, how you doing? Tony Driven Dad, how are you? Driven Mom, how are you? Well, and then there's some other people that just I'm seeing them coming or watching, but they're not in the chat yet. You guys, another thing, if you see that, as Pedro calls it, the Blue Wrench Gang, that everybody has a wrench in the chat, it's because I like people to have wrenches. I like you to be able to post links and share things with each other, and I like you to be able to look up each other's channels and that. So make sure that you join in the chat, even if you don't have a moderator handle. And if I know you, I go back through it and I give it to you. I'd like everybody to have them. It makes it a lot more fun, I think, for everybody. So just don't abuse them. Don't abuse them. Okay, so Yost, you know what we're going to talk about first here.
Yes, absolutely.
I got to bring it up, you guys. Everybody's talking about this, and I heard people talking about sample sizes, like how would you know because of sample sizes? Well, I'm going to ask Yost's perspective on this, but I'm also going to tell you guys about sample sizes because at Para we've had a lot of sample sizes that are big. So we're going to talk about this. I've cracked the algorithm that I see kind of everywhere. I don't know if you are too. I mean, I'm not saying everybody's claiming they have, but everybody seems to be talking about this. I've cracked it out. Like, okay. So have the gig workers cracked the algorithm?
Man, nobody's cracked this algorithm. You do not know. First of all, I have to say this. Nova's actually here. I'm not Yost. Last night, somebody got us confused. They said Yost is in the house, but it was Nova. So it was pretty funny. I had to mention that. But anyways, hello, everybody. What's up? I'm a part of the gig community, too. Steve has me on, and I'm excited. It means the gig community loves me. But, yeah, I don't think anybody can really crack the algorithm. If say somebody cracked the door, like say Par, for example.
Yep.
Before when they started, they got into the back of Doordash and you knew exactly what order, you knew exactly how much, It was no predictor. It tells you exactly.
Yes.
That's cracking it. That's knowing what's going to the back. Yes, I would say that. But
I was even go a step further and say that's not even cracking it.
Yeah,
and
I mean,
and that's full time Jeff working 100 hours a week to find this one little spot to access.
Yes, like
that's not even cracking.
That you knew. But here's the thing: people kept saying stuff. DoorDash, does whatever they want. And now PAR is more of a tip predictor. And now, does it even work anymore? I haven't used PAR
right now. Right now, no. It's whenever if they did moderate changes, mild to moderate, Jeff could usually follow whatever the coding change was to within a few days anyway, at most, if not a few hours, usually upon a change. But when they'd really just 180 it, which is often, actually, let's be honest. I mean, they do. Again, guys, I have to say this. First of all, if the algorithm, if they wanted that, okay, if they wanted to, they wouldn't have a team that literally hides the code. Exactly. That makes people like Jeff, who are coders trying to figure out what's going on, get steered off on wild goose chases.
Mm-hmm.
They have teams that do this because they don't want to show full transparency, even though they're being forced to some places, or in New York, they now have to, and they got AB5 in these other states. But these are not things they want to do. They hire people to make sure this doesn't happen. So what I'm saying, I guess, is I have a theory right now. No, again, it's just a theory. And again, guys, I've been saying this a lot lately. Make sure, and this, I kind of say this, I'm saying this nicely, by the way. I'm not yelling at any creators, but make sure that you guys are using, in my opinion, either that language or at least put it out there that it, like, just let it be known that that's your opinion. Don't be careful about this fact stuff, because people watch your stuff.
Yeah, and
they count on this, and you can't tell them it's a fact when you absolutely 100% don't know.
Absolutely, 100%. And I think his name was Sin City Deliveries or something like that. I haven't followed his channel, but on Pedro's Live, he'll send this metadata. They have all this data, and okay, if I it's a group of 50 of them or whatever it's in this group, and they say, well, I got this order. So-and-so got this order and it went up. I think most of the time it's coincidence or a proximity thing. I don't think having 100% AR is going to get you necessarily better orders. It's like I see folks who crack this algorithm have so much loyalty to DoorDash. I'm like, this is what DoorDash wants. They want you to have the loyalty. They can deactivate you tomorrow for whatever reason. And I see people are like, well, let me go for Top Dasher. And I mean, if you don't go Top Dasher, fine. But this company does not care. They will send you to $2. They'll send you 10 straight $2 orders. It doesn't matter. And for folks who say, oh, I figured it out, Matt Moore, who does a lot of DoorDash content, I don't know if you watch More Finance or not, he oftentimes will say, oh, I figured it out. Oh, wait, DoorDash changed again. I think they're a smart enough company. They probably watch some of us who are in the community and say, oh, well, they think this person figured it out. Let me change it on their end. And I think DoorDash knows what they're doing. The more they get talked about, the more people are going to use it.
Yeah, I'll even go a step farther. First of all, I do want to address Sin City because I did watch. I didn't actually see all of the Pedro thing, but I watched the next day when they went on Hannibal's channel, and that discussion showed me that he is a very smart guy.
Yeah.
I'm going to give him this. He's a very smart guy. I know people like him who are very wise, but here's my theory, you guys. And this, again, it's just a theory. I do work with the power team, para, however you say it, either ways works. But I got to tell you guys that from everything I've seen, learned, and know, I honestly believe that, okay, so when Q2 earnings came out, I don't know how many of you ever looked this stuff up. It's public record. You can go look into the public earnings of any company once they IPO. And DoorDash is IPO'd. They're publicly traded. You can go look up their stuff. In the Q2 report, there is a section that says the investors were concerned about one of their major concerns that they want put on the table for Q3 was that they are very concerned at the 10% to lower acceptance rate. And obviously, as an investor, that makes sense to me.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Why wouldn't you be concerned? Because you're like, hey, listen, these guys are taking less than 1 out of every 10 orders that you send them. Something's wrong with the program here. So, again, here's my theory. If that was brought up by the DoorDash investors, would it not make sense that DoorDash is because I don't think anybody cracked the code. Maybe they did. Okay, if you can show me how you cracked the code, or you don't even have to show me how you did it, because that could be very valuable. But explain to me why you think you cracked it. That would be great. I would love to hear it. But here's what I think is that people always see patterns.
Yes.
And so, like, again, we always talk market to market, everything. But one thing we can all say in common is, like, you pick up on patterns. That it actually, a lot of times, it helps your earnings. You pick up a pattern, you learn spots. It's part of your tool chest. Well, why, if a quarterly report came out where the investors, one of the concerns is not how we're paid, but our acceptance rate, how little we're taking these orders, and how much extra I mean, I can tell you from a pair standpoint, that's very expensive data to send. I guess their point would be, why are you sending it out 10 times? Why don't you just make the order good so that somebody takes it? Or these people who do take them quick, even though they'll eventually get taken, the good people are getting the orders too, and we're doing it less. Wouldn't it make sense that they make Top Dasher look very alluring in an elusive way? Wouldn't it make sense that they make it so that you see a pattern like you've never seen before, and you're like, I cracked the code. Look at this. I can show you. Yeah, you can show me, because they probably are trying to get everybody to a Top Dasher right now, real quick.
Exactly. And and that's a great point. You look at the behind the scenes, the numbers, because the numbers don't lie. As we can all agree, math and numbers do not lie. They're the only ones that tell the truth and where the money's at. And if they're concerned about it, they're going to do what they can to manipulate and say, well, if you don't take this order, if you don't have this, then you're going to have to do this to get scheduled, or you're going to have to do this. And so it's all manipulation technique. And as you said before, it's a pattern. And folks may see patterns for 2 weeks, and then it could change because, you're just in the right spot
or 2
at that
months
time.
Or 3 months.
Yeah.
And that makes it seem like, that makes it seem even more real, I think. And it even solidifies it more to you. Like, look, I told you 2 weeks ago. Now it's 4 weeks. It's still doing. But I'm just telling people, like, I've been doing this since 2014. Those just, when they disappear like that. They're gone. You wake up one day and that pattern means nothing. It has no relevance anymore. It does not make you money. It doesn't work. And that's when they shift it. Again, they're not stupid, and they're not going to come out and say, hey guys, we need you all to be Top Dashers if you could, because our investors are getting pissed. They're not. Well, where's the incentive? Well, we don't have one. We just need you to do that for us. Okay, nobody's going to do it if that's their strategy. So the strategy has to be like the company always operates: shady, under the table, kind of back alley deal type stuff. I mean, it's never straight. I mean, it's never transparent. It's never straightforward. It's never honest.
Zero transparency. Why are these lawmakers and states making these laws for the transparency? Why? If DoorDash was transparent the whole time, I think people would still take those $2 to $3 orders. Just to be 100% honest, they're going to take them anyway, because either they don't know what they're doing, or they're like, you know what, it's only a mile, I'll take it. Like, people will still take it. I don't see anything wrong. I think DoorDash does all this stuff for a reason, and none of us work for DoorDash, but I just think they all do this for a reason, and hiding whatever they want to hide, the information supposedly that's cracked. It just grinds my gears at times. I haven't DoorDashed even in a while because my market's been extremely slow. It's been gray on a Friday night, which I've never seen that before. Just gray, nothing, and my whole area is just gray. And I'm just like, I wonder what's going on. I mean, I don't know if they're making money.
School, maybe.
Back to school, the summer slowdown.
But people are back around cooking again for their kids. They're back home. They're trying not to spend because they spent all summer.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know if anybody's ordered DoorDash, but it's expensive.
Yeah,
it's extremely expensive. I mean, you got this fee, that fee. They charge 10% more of the food. and you can get Chipotle burrito, it's gonna cost you $20.
Yeah.
It just it's and then us who want to make money on that end, it's like, okay, well, I'm doing DoorDash. I want to make 18 to 25 bucks an hour. You want to make some good money, and then it's like, what about that other end? You're like, these people are paying so much money. You're like, but I deserve a tip for doing the service. It's just kind of one of those things I thought about. I was like, wait a minute. Whenever you're out there and the wear and tear in your car, and it just gets you.
It does. It absolutely does, man. In fact, I'm jumping over to the comments here because I do this as the audio podcast. So I was told don't read the comments, but I just want to real quickly look and see if just splashing through if anybody had anything to mention about this. So yeah, definitely DoorDash definitely doesn't care if they about us, about this. Everyone is talking about Pedro. I don't know why. I mean,
please mention this live. We just mentioned this live, man. It was kind of where the thing started. And I mean, I'm all about the tip transparency. I'm all about backing a par and the change.org petition. I'm 100% on board with that because it needs to be out there. All the other apps do it. Most of the other apps, I would say Uber Eats would be the only other one that would say high tips, but all the other apps show you what you're going to get. What is up with that? And so, I'll go ahead and read the comment.
Well, I was just reading this. So her Michelle's son is a coder now, and he said no way. I mean, that's what I was kind of saying before too. I mean, you guys have talked to I have to always say it both ways now because David said, some people say para, some people say para. So we've actually had meetings about it. We just don't care anymore. Say it whichever way you want, and we'll respond. So, because we used to correct and stuff, so there is no wrong way. But I mean, that's what we were going over, Michelle. Was it just it's just crazy that. I guess my point is, it sure seems like everybody has a lot to say about algorithms. Who I don't think could answer 5 algorithm questions if I wrote them for them.
Oh, exactly.
I mean it in a nice way too. I wouldn't make them difficult. I just mean basic things you would need to pass an algorithm 101 type class. If I wrote 5 questions, I'd be curious who would pass these questions. And if you can't pass those, there's no way you're reading an algorithm.
Oh, zero. I like you said, it's patterns. Yeah. Folks think they have a pattern that may work for a small set of time, and then it could just change. I mean, there's no pattern, no rhyme or reason. You're getting this order compared to somebody else. Yeah, maybe an algorithm, but I think it's really all randomized. I think I can get the same orders as a top dasher if I was at the right place at the right time.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen, like I said, I've seen a million patterns, and some of them aren't just like, I'm in some groove that nobody else can see. And I'm seeing like Tron vision or something I'm seeing the real, like they are real. It's a real pattern that is happening. So it's not like I'm dreaming it and going, I think I've figured out a pattern. I have figured out a pattern often, but a pattern, again, this is where I say, be careful with your words and make sure you say just my opinion, because I figured out patterns often, but I've never cracked an algorithm of a multi-million-dollar company or multi-billion-dollar company that's worldwide. And if anybody in here has, and you have a YouTube channel about the gig economy, let me be your rep to get you a $5 million a year job. I'll have it for you by tomorrow. Because if you can crack that algorithm, I can get you that job. I'll broker it for you.
Pay that finder's fee.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, just let me go to town. I know a lot of people in this space. I will have you a killer job if you really cracked it. But again, saying just my opinion and also backing up what you say is huge. You need to like, a lot of times it's a little easier, I think, for me, because I for 6 years have had UberLiftDrivers.com, which isn't just rideshare. It's all gig economy stuff. But even if I'm getting my information from another source and I'm using it in articles on that site, I link that source so that I can always go back to it. So when I'm talking about it, I'm taking it right from my website but it's all stuff I've researched that I've found. So if anybody ever questions me, I say, just go to my website. It's all there.
So, I want to kind of get your, since we're doing the pin, how do you feel about the Top Dasher program? Like, do you think it's worth it in some places? Do you think that
I'm sure it is. Mm-hmm. That's honestly how I feel, is that I don't know. I mean, like, send me on a trip and give, if I had the time, drop me in a new city every 2 weeks. Let me have 2 weeks to really learn it, and I might give you a whole different perspective on that city. Oh my gosh, this is nothing like mine. I can't get any orders on Curry. I'm getting a ton of Doordash. It's best to be a top dasher, not to be in the lowest 10%. I don't know. I think we talk about market to market, but I honestly, are you rural? Are you in a town of 3,000? Are you in a town of 200,000? Are you in a town of like New York City of 8 million? I mean, there are just way too many factors. And that's part of why I say there's no way you cracked an algorithm. Because exactly. Those numbers alone should have just told you how impossible that would be. So you have a city 100%. With 500 people, then you got a city right next to it with 8 million. Come on. I mean, that kind of data, how are you breaking that down on a level where it's across the board? Like, there's no way you can make a comment saying, I figured it out for every state in the country. There's just, I'm sorry, I would have to debate that all day long. There's no way you can say that. I even have a theory that they don't use the same code in different areas.
Yeah.
I mean, we already know, they tweak the pays around. I mean, I think that they learn, like, wow, maybe one city takes all the crap orders, so they don't ever make them higher. Maybe this one little city doesn't ever see anything more than 250 because they take them all. So they're like, well, why would we even offer more? Just let it be 250.
I can agree on that. It's a tech company that just delivers food.
Yeah.
They know what we're going to do.
It's not even a tech delivery that delivers food. It's a tech company that takes an order and passes it to the people that do deliver it.
Yeah.
Who are independent contractors.
Yeah.
They're the definition of a middleman.
Yep, absolutely.
The new definition in the technical world for a middleman is SaaS. It's a service as a software.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I just like with just DoorDash in general, I think they know which markets will take the junk orders to me.
Yeah.
I can't say for everybody else, the junk orders to me. And they're like, you know what? They take the $3 ones. Let's just keep it down. This market, nope, we need to make it higher so those orders can be dispatched. Because at the end of the day, all they want is restaurant A for you to deliver it, and that's it. That's all they care about. And whatever they can do, they'll do it. And so, I mean, I have nothing against the top dashers.
I don't either. That's why, because if that's what works, look, if you've been doing this for a while, if you've been doing this for a year, my guess is, because I mean, first of all, we don't often talk about the biggest thing that most people don't even. I read something, and this was for all United States gig economy jobs. Most people, first of all, 80%, 85% of people work less than 16 hours a week.
Yeah,
who are in the gig economy, 85% of them work less than 16 hours. So that's not even full part-time.
Yeah,
that's like spare part-time kind of thing. Now, I know there's a lot of full-timers, and there's a lot on YouTube. Obviously, you check out these channels. That's important to them. But now I've also read articles that say that most people who enter the gig economy don't make it longer than 6 weeks. 90% bail out in the first 6 weeks.
Wow.
So if we have stats like this, what are we even basing this on? If you've been in this for a year, my guess is what works in your market, and it's still good. I'm not dissing any channels or anything. I think you should still watch them, because you never know what I learn or somebody else learns, and then I always pass it right along to you guys. So I'm always being honest and truthful, and I mean, we always have things to pass on. It's also just a good way to listen to others and some of the things the trials and tribulations they face in their market, but realistically, like if only 10% are making it past the first 6 weeks, and then only 85% of the entire country, or 85% is working less than 16 hours, we have a really tough set of data to dissect there.
Yeah, I mean, that's how can you say this person that works less than 16 hours is going to get anything better than somebody does 40 or 50 or 60, however long some people work. I mean, it's just the control data set alone is just like, I don't even know how you could compare it, to be 100% honest.
Okay, you and I were joking about I was talking that, I was going to try and stop through on the way to the conference to have lunch with you, right?
Yeah.
But then we were joking about how from you to Denver, it's nothing, right?
Nothing.
So for those of you that don't know, Yost is in Kansas City. I'm in Denver. There is nothing between us. I mean, there's barely gas stations. You can barely find a place to get gas. It's just nothing. But there are like a couple towns in that 600 miles of nothing that are like have like 4 hotels, 2 gas stations, and a little town. Now, let's imagine that, there's 5-6 restaurants. They use DoorDash. Let's just by chance say that there's only 600 people live in the town. What if there's only one Dasher? Don't you think that Dasher gets paid really well if he just waits it out for a second? Because they know. Okay, well, offer him it. Okay, well, now who do we offer to? Nobody, because he's the only Dasher we have there. So I would assume he gets treated a lot differently with a lot different priority than where they have 1,000 Dashers to cover 15 miles.
That's something to think about. I mean,
these are just I'm just spitballing things here, guys. I'm just trying to make it show you guys how elusive and by nature, an algorithm is by nature written by a coder, but it is AI. Its job is to go in and learn how to better communicate the system. So even at a certain point, the developer of the algorithm even has trouble understanding his algorithm because it's already learned.
Now,
this is the kind of stuff we watch in science fiction movies, I know, but don't worry, it's only a food delivery platform.
Now, I don't know if you ever heard the story about how Facebook wrote its own AI and then it made its own language. Yeah, it's a crazy story how Facebook, it's a tech company kind of thing. And they wrote its own AI to where it talked to each other, and eventually it made its own language, and Facebook had to cut it off. Yeah. And it's like these computers are just extremely smart. They know our habits. They track you on your phone. That probably right now, if we talked about Hoover vacuums, everybody's going to get something about vacuums on their Facebook feed. I mean,
oh my God. I was talking to, perfect example. I was talking to Gary Middleton when, Gary and I have talked forever, but when we saw each other in person, I had my iPhone with me. I have Siri off. I have all turned, do not spy on me, do not listen to me, but blah, 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 blah. Gary was talking about him and his wife going to Branson, Missouri.
Oh my gosh.
On the way. And he said it a bunch. Now, when I got home, I'm not kidding, I have Hulu on my phone too. So, but I use it for my son and I use it for the TV, right? But I do have the app on my phone. So when I get home, my YouTube, every ad for 2 weeks was Branson. When I turned on Hulu, Branson. I have never seen an ad for Branson or whatever it is in my life.
Branson's it's a fun town.
Right, but they didn't just start advertising the day I got home.
That's crazy.
They're listening to my phone, even though I said, no, do not do anything.
That is insane.
I'm the person who opts out of even like, this will help us understand. Nope, I don't care. I don't want to help.
Nope, I don't want to either. I turned off my Google Maps. So, with Google Maps, it will have like your last locations and frequent locations. I turn that off. It has to say,
yep, me too. I've got everything off.
I have to turn it off, but still,
I have refresh data off because I was told that serves no purpose other than feeding data back, unless you need an update every 30 seconds on your photo app. I mean, come on, guys. If you don't go turn it off, the default is that it's on with almost everything, but it's on with photos, meaning every 30 seconds they're checking your photos.
Wow.
Why? I was like, no, I don't need that. That's the whatever it is, the refresh data setting. And so did I miss some chat here? The chat turns off. Jesus, Arturo.
Yes, you missed it. Yes.
Holy shit. Oh, sorry. My God, Arturo, what the?
Shout out to Arturo, man.
My man. You guys, I do this as the audio podcast. I probably should have told Yost before we come on that I turned that off because for the audio podcast, Jason Terry had pointed out that when I'm reading this, that he's like, well, your audio cast people are going, what the hell's he doing? So I just turned this off, but oh my God, Arturo, thank you so much, my friend. I've got no words, bro.
Shout out to Arturo, man, and the super chat. I think that's what it's called.
Seriously.
Super chat.
Seriously. Out. And for those of you that thought I was ignoring Arturo, no, I've just been dodging on the chat here a little bit. But,
and you got another one too.
Yeah, I was trying to see who that's
Gig Worker 101.
Okay. Yeah, I think I said that in the beginning.
Yeah, shout out to both of them.
And part-time gigster. Okay. Yeah, but shout out to anybody that does it. But man, Arturo, wow, thank you very much. So I see Sergio's in here too. So let me see what he's got to say. Sergio from the Rideshare Guy. To say you cracked the algo is silly at best. You're dealing with the best coders on the planet. Are there some glitches you can abuse? Don't take it. Yeah, I mean, exactly, Sergio. This is exactly what we've been saying, is that there's no way that anybody has cracked the algorithm. I'm sorry. It's just, again, if you have, it is time to show it, you guys. It's time to show people how you did it, or not necessarily how, but some sort of, here's why it's true. You can't just say it anymore. You gotta show people, because it concerns me. It goes back to that just my opinion thing. If you're not saying just my opinion, okay. Well, now I'm going to leave that up, Arturo, because I want you to get recognized.
Well, I was trying to read this article you sent. I didn't have too much time to prepare, so I apologize if the show is bad, folks.
No, you're good.
Working.
You're good.
I'm just playing, but I wanted to understand more about the in-house delivery, like me doing Spark, and it seems like Doordash, they're not getting along too well. I mean, from what I
they're done.
Yeah, they're done. So
they're done at the end of the month. There's no relationship anymore.
Wow,
like now I got that today. I already knew that it was over, but now it's over with a date. Now it's over the last day of this month. As of the 1st of next month, you will not be shopping any DoorDash at Walmart.
Now, is it going to be a type of thing to where, DoorDash is going to try to go to more stores? Because that's a pretty big hit, because Walmart's a huge retailer.
Yeah. Well, I mean, okay, but Walmart has Spark, and you know what? Here's a fear of mine. I know, and a lot of people are crushing it with Spark, but here's a fear of mine, is that I honestly think that, because I've some Spark markets have, like Jason Thierry lives in Michigan, in a market that you wouldn't have think Spark went to first, but it was there like 2.5 years ago. He was crushing it for about 8 months. Then it died. And then about 6 months later, everybody that we know in the GigTube community was like, it just came here. I'm crushing it. And they're still doing well and whatnot. But I already saw the rise and fall in a couple test markets. And I honestly believe that Walmart is building their own staff of drivers who will deliver this stuff. Because what is the best way to learn how to hire your drivers? To use gig workers for a year and watch their patterns.
I would have never thought of that. That's a pretty smart move on their part.
Well, because here's the reason why I say this too. If people do disagree, here's why I say this, because Walmart is very pro W2. Not that I'm against it, but they are all about you being a W2, having a good job. They're actually one of the few. I'm not praising Walmart here, guys. I'm not, but I am going to say they're one of the few jobs that is, everybody puts equal opportunity employer, but I really think Walmart is about as close as that really comes, because you really do have an opportunity to go in there with no skills and get moved up the ladder. That's very rare. I'm not saying I want to do it. I'm not saying it's the best move for many people, but I'm just saying not many businesses really offer that and mean it. Like, we'll move you up the ladder. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
That's most jobs. But Walmart, you really, if that's, again, I'm not praising. It sounds like I am, but I mean, it's just, everything they do is about W2 and having all these protections and medical. I just don't see that the long-term vision is let's use gig workers.
And somebody like me who's doing it's been doing it for a minute, and it's like, building their own, catching all the data we're looking at and saying, okay, well, if I pay this driver $30 to deliver 2 things, what's stopping me from paying somebody $20 and they can deliver a whole lot more stuff in that hour compared to a Spark driver?
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen some of the Walmart Plus vans that they do have for delivery. I've seen some of them. So I have a feeling you're probably more correct than what a lot of people want to allude to, because I do have that feeling they probably are going to build some in-house, and it may cut down to where you would have to either work for Walmart or say, okay, well, you can do X, Y, and Z for this many hours and you can't turn it on for this. So I think that's probably what's going to happen.
And if you're still like going, well, wait a minute, they're not going to jump from gig workers right to full-time employees. Okay, maybe they're not. Maybe you guys, but we do have an example of another thing that's doing that same move already. Let's look at Shipt. I do Shipt. Okay, here in Denver, it's pays pretty well. Okay, but they're already, like in Minneapolis, up in the Twin Cities, they're already starting Shipt deployment centers so that the Shipt shoppers don't go to real Targets. They're going to deployment centers and just getting their box and you go. So that's a step in the direction of W2, or at least off-site moving this stuff. So regardless, I just, I warn this with everything, is that just don't get trapped in one, man.
No.
Gig work can be awesome, guys, but don't get trapped in one. Don't get trapped in one.
And I did DoorDash for a long time, and that was the only app. And then, you get on YouTube and see other people are doing other apps, and
Flex.
Hey, Mr. Flex was good. And I guess my big thing is doing one app if it's working fine, but always have that second or third, fourth, fifth option.
Yeah,
always have it. And it's kind of with the Top Dasher thing. They do only DoorDash. That's it. They make their money on DoorDash, and that's it. And it's just like there's other ways. And I'm not bashing DoorDash 100%. I think it's good for a lot of people.
No, I'm not. I mean, DoorDash has made a lot of people a lot of money.
A lot of people a lot of money, but I think there's just more out there that folks are either too afraid to check out, or, like I said, that brand loyalty with DoorDash is just uncanny. And I've just never seen it. I was like, wow. The way people talk about DoorDash, and just it's the brand loyalty is just top notch.
Yeah. Mr. Flex being in here is a perfect example. I mean, Mr. Flex doesn't work any other apps. He only works DoorDash. He works harder, more hours than anybody I know. He makes a killing. He still does it even as the years have progressed and the pays changed and the models change and it's a little tougher to earn. He still does it year after year. But he is only DoorDash. He sticks with it. That's all he does, so it can work. Again, it goes back to what Yost and I were talking about just a little bit ago. We just don't know, it's like each market's different. Each person's different. They might look at, we don't know what they watch. They might look at patterns like how often you don't take something. Yeah, but they might look at how often are you home with your app on, not taking it. And they might really go, you know what? Stop sending him stuff. He's always at home, not taking anything. Like, we're used to people not taking anything, but he's not even not near his house. He's just at home, not taking it. That sucks. Turn him off. We just don't know, dude. You just don't know.
And you don't know if they're doing live. Like, I don't know if the system is smart enough to figure out, hey, this person hasn't taken 20 orders. And it cracks me up when you pause, you decline enough, and then they give you that little the lady with the bags, like you're missing something. And like, what? You're like, It shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter. I should be able to pick whatever order I want. And it's just those small things that they do to try their best for you to take those 650s for 8 miles. And I'm just like, I just can't do it. Get you out of your zone, and then you're not getting an order to drive back, and just the wear and tear on your vehicle. And you're gonna have wear and tear anyway, no matter what you do. But I mean, there's certain other things you can do to try to mitigate some of those factors. And with your per mile, and these people are like these no tippers that are just, I'll personally say the no tippers are just the people who give me the most angst, and They're the ones that want their food now and don't understand why it's taking forever. And I've always had problems with the no tip customers because the order got sent enough times where it's decent to take, and then you're like, oh, this thing has no tip on it. Oh man.
Yeah, exactly.
These no tip folks. I can talk a whole thing about no tip.
I mean, I've always thought there could be a system of, like, obviously once you create something and you launch it, you're kind of stuck with some things. Like, you can't all of a sudden go, hey, you guys got a tip, by the way. You have to. It would look bad to the customers. But like, there could be a way of like saying, you'd have to be very careful about it. But if you were DoorDash, of saying like prioritized orders and not prioritized orders. And if you don't tip, you're not a prioritized order. And you will get kind of in a better language than I'm going to say it. You'll get your food when you get it.
Exactly. You'll get it when you get it.
You'll get your food as soon as we find somebody stupid enough to take this order. Just have that come up to the customer.
Say something.
And at that point, say, would you rather add a tip and get it in 15 minutes? Or are you stupid?
And I think a lot of the problem is, I had an idea, and I think I'm going to do this idea. And if people take my idea, that's fine. But a lot of like the orders I do, I'm going to get some cards with a QR code with my YouTube channel and like show them the beginning to end of an order. Because I don't think a lot of people know how the apps even work. Like, customers don't know, like, hey, I only see $4 of the $10 you tip me, or, that's a bad example, but I only saw that much. Why was my order not taken? Right. Or like, hey, why did they go to 2 restaurants? I tipped $20 and Joe over there put $2.50, as a $2.50 order, no tip. Why did my food come last? I think people don't understand how the app even works.
Yeah, here's the Driven Mom's comment to this. You will get your food when you get your food. It sounds like a dad on a road trip telling the kids, we'll get there when we get there. Are we close? Are we close?
That would be good. I would like if they did something, but I doubt it.
Yeah, no. It's and hey, whoever cracked the DoorDash code, just hack it then. I mean, obviously hacking it would be very simple since you cracked it. Just hack it and put in this for us. Hey, you forgot to tip, moron. We don't deliver to you. Put a tip in.
Crack, tell us what's going on. I would love to see it. If you told us the algorithm said, hey, you got to be there from 5 to 8 p.m. at this restaurant, please tell me. I would love to know what the code is or what the algorithm is, or, if this order got declined 10 times, number 10 would be the best offer. Like,
again, I'm not dissing on people for finding patterns. I found them all the time in lots of apps. Some apps I never saw any patterns. I just was like, oh, that was a good day. That was a bad day. I never really found anything that I picked up on, but a lot of apps I've found absolutely patterns, and some of them last a real long time, but I don't think it's anything more than that. And if it is, I honestly have to say that I believe that Q2 report, that I don't think it's like Gary said about terms of service. Gary and I are always talking. How many people read the terms of service? None. Zero. None. We're not even going to talk percentages because none of you read.
None. No, nobody reads it. If you say,
Gary reads it every time.
Yeah,
but he develops apps that have to play with nicely with these things. So
yeah, absolutely.
But he also does that for us. And then if there's a big update, he tells us, he'll tell us like the 2 things without going through all the legalese, boring language. He'll just say the 2 important things you need to know is this and this. And it's nice to have somebody like that. But to be honest, like, I don't know. We're dealing with a company that is way beyond anything algorithmic. I don't think you can figure it out. Like I said, the people who program algorithms have trouble figuring out their own algorithms once they've been in a system long enough. Now, a system that has this many users and this many independent contractors using it, can you imagine trying to like find your AI in there, the algorithm you wrote, and then bring it out and extract it to understand what it's doing? Because that part is where it can't be done. You can't really bring it out, extract what it's doing, and understand. It's more of a gameplay. Like, you put an algorithm in, if it starts doing what you want it to, and you see your costs go down and you see your profits rise, your algorithm did good. If it doesn't, you can at least pull it and rewrite another one. But if it's doing something you like, there's really no way to understand what it's doing. It's just doing it.
Now, how big do you think the DoorDash team is coming up with, trying to, stop people who are, going into the background and trying to figure this out? How big do you think, big of a team do you think that is?
I mean, it's a lot, but it also can't be too many, because even Para, we got served with a cease and desist. Or 2, sorry. We didn't take the first one real seriously. We had, I mean, if we have to pay for a lawyer, you might as well go for it a bit.
Yeah.
So we were just testing the waters. We sent them one back.
We
sent them one back because they said it was a Monday. And it was, it gave us a week. It was like Monday at 4, it was delivered to the office in San Francisco. And it was, hey, you guys need to stop by the following Monday at 4 p.m. It gave us exactly a week long to the minute. And it said, or else we're going to proceed with. And so we sent them back a thing saying, okay, before next Monday, you can meet with us at any time. Just let us know. All we ask is a meeting. If we don't get that meeting, because we said we'll pull the system down today, but if we don't get that meeting by the next Monday, that you're saying we have to be pulled down. So we pulled it down when they said we'd still have a week to use it. And we said, okay, we're already down. And we said, now you have a week to contact us. If you don't, at 4 p.m., that the time you've said it has to be down, we're putting it back up. And that's what we did. And the next morning, we got a real cease and desist.
Whoa. I mean, is par the correct name? I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
So, with par going out, figuring it out, DoorDash noticed. They noticed.
Yeah.
And, it's just like, why would that? If they were all about the independent contractor, why would they care if another app decided to show what was going on?
Yeah.
Why would it matter? It's this app that just got downloaded, and why would they care? But they did, because they obviously are very manipulative with their practices on a lot of things. And so that, I mean, just to me, if a small company is like, hey, I figured it out, we can show these drivers making a lot more money. I mean, it was the big thing with the last, what was it, last year, I think, around this time, or last year and a half. It was the biggest thing was getting on par and seeing everything. I mean, that was just talked about on YouTube, and just everyone's like, hey, well, I can see everything. And then
this year again, I mean, it's a constant battle, and it's all other things that we're trying. I like a lot of other para projects as well. Yeah, I mean, I could sit here, you guys, all night and talk about this one subject, because it's burning on me a little bit. It's not like making me angry. I'm not. First of all, we got to wrap this up because it's the audio podcast. I got to get this back to an hour, but I got to say this. I got to say that, if we could just have transparency, all these stories, myths, theories, everything goes away. Even all the problems with all the state laws go away. I mean, because if they're transparent, if you show a dasher everything they need to know, here's the total amount, here's the tip, here's where it's going, here's where you're picking it up, and they take it, that's on them. If you show them all that and they don't take it, that's their decision. So obviously, here's my point. If you think you figured out the algorithm, obviously you didn't, because if they wanted to make it apparent, they would just drop all the security people they have, or they'd keep security, but they drop all the people who hide code altogether and save a lot of money. They don't want to pay those people. They pay them because they don't want us snooping around their business. So that said, guys, I mean, I guess I need to say this. I need to say that just if you are out there creating, and obviously do anything you want, but at least say, just in my opinion.
Absolutely.
At least I think so. Or again, like I said, make it known. And by that, I mean, like, make it known that anything you're saying is just your opinion. Make sure people know that. Because some people follow you, a lot of these creators. And again, this isn't anybody. I'm not talking about Pedro. I'm not talking about Sin City. I'm not talking about any of them. I'm just talking about everybody. Just make sure, because it is all opinion. It's all opinion based.
I agree. And I know we got to wrap up. But yeah, I 100% agree with the sentiment. People who are gig creators, they listen. Folks listen. They listen to what you say on different tips and tricks, and disclaim it. Don't say you know it all, because it's It's not true. None of us, if we all knew it all, would be rich. We'll have a lot more money than what we do now. And so, it's, I agree with you 100%. Opinion, say, hey, this is what I think. I've seen this, and this as a pattern. Something to where people are like, hey, this guy knows exactly what he's talking about. You can be educated on the subject, but like I said, the opinion, at least disclaim it. I mean, that I agree with that 100%.
Yep. So that said, you guys, I want to thank Yost for joining us. Always fun. We'll have to find other things to do, and I'm excited to hear how your W-2 goes. Like in a couple months, though. Like after you got your feet wet.
Absolutely. The banking industry's fun, and banking industry's fun. Thank you all your sponsors and all that for the show, and do what you gotta do, my man.
And and that's about it. The other thing, you guys, is that we Hannibal and I are starting a show tonight that will be on Tuesdays, but we're doing it tonight with the CEO of Dumpling right after this. So come over and check it out. The show's going to be Beyond the Gigs. Every 2 weeks, we're going to do an episode on taking you past the gig apps and how to earn 3 to 4 times as much in last mile services. Dumpling being your own boss, companies where you actually create a business, not work for an app. So we're going to start talking about that. But in the meantime, still work the apps. I mean, we're not going to diss on them. We're just saying that there are other ways to earn out there and still be independent. So that said, that's a wrap, you guys. Have a good night. Be good. Earn good. Drive safe. Be good to people. Try and smile at people. And have a good day. And we'll see you next week here on the Rideshare Rodeo. Peace.
Thank you again, man.